Our next guest is a very talented businessman, but you may know him for some of his other remarkable talents. Dan Aykroyd is one of the creators of the contemporary comedy environment, emerging from the original Saturday Night Live not ready for primetime players to become a major player in the film industry, appearing, of course, in films ranging from the Ghostbusters movies to the Blues Brothers movies, Spies Like Us, Dragnet, movies that have brought in over $1 billion at the box office. The talented businessman is one of the founders of the Hard Rock Cafe chain, as well as the founder of the House of Blues, and we're pleased to introduce you to still another facet of his talents, winemaker. Dan Aykroyd, it is a great pleasure to have you aboard Sky Radio. Welcome on.
Well, what an intro. Wow, how am I going to live up to all of that? Your research is pretty accurate, I would say.
Well, thank you for that. So what brought you to create Dan Aykroyd Wines? When did you get bitten by the winemaker bug?
Well, you know, you've heard of the Patron tequila brand. I think most people in America have at this point the leading luxury tequila brand. Well, the principal owner of Patron, John Paul DeJoria, was one of our investors in House of Blues, and we used to drink that Plata Patron at the bar at the House of Blues in Los Angeles. And I couldn't get it in Canada, and I said, why not? Why are you being prejudiced against Canadians? We like tequila too. So we brought that into Canada, and they partnered me with a distributor there who knew more about the business than I certainly did, and found out the distributor had 250 acres of vines in the Niagara region, which you know is a beautiful wine-growing area thanks to the Niagara Escarpment and the lake effect, which comes in across Lake Erie and Lake Ontario. Soft breezes come up against the escarpment and get trapped there in these beautiful soft mists in the spring and summer. And in the winter, the ice wine production is great because it does get cold. There are certain cold snaps that are associated with the growing of ice wine. And so I saw this great resource in Ontario, my home province, and it intrigued me to get involved in it. And I've ended up licensing brands of wines out of Niagara, and now we're doing the Sonoma wines with Jean-Charles Boisset, whose family goes back to about 1100. So I'm really in with guys who, like me, have completely corrupted palates. We only like the best. But we're trying to convey value with the Sonoma wine from Boisset.
Well, let's talk about the wines now. You've launched the Discovery Series in Canada, now in the U.S. Tell us about them.
It's a mix of Sonoma Reds and Sonoma White Chardonnay, of which Mr. Boisset is a master, and then the Cabernet Sauvignon, which we're doing as well, which is a nice spicy wine. It's a $50, $60 Bordeaux experience, but we'd like to give it to the consumer at a reasonable value. I never overpay for wine, and I don't like to go into restaurants and pay $3,000 for wine. I'll find something for maybe $39, $49, $59, a premium Bordeaux or Napa or Sonoma Red, and I will buy that over anything that's more expensive, and I know I'm going to get value there. So I'm giving the consumer an opportunity at around $20 to get a big, bold taste that I was turned on to by drinking the best, and the idea is to discover wines that I like and share them with the consuming public at a value, especially today when discretionary spending is extremely sensitive in the average community and family.
Well, that's entirely consistent with the reaction I have to the website. You can sense your presence there. There's laughs, of course, but there's an absence of some of the stuffiness that goes with wine appreciation. But the respect and the affection for wine seems to be fully intact there. Tell me about the attitude and culture you hope to bring to your label.
Well, I hope to make it accessible to hardworking people who are out there. The double-income family wants to stay home. They've managed the plasma TV. They've got home entertainment centers now. They're not going out as much. They eat and drink at home. They read gourmet magazines. You know, everybody is exposed to food and wine now through the sophisticated network of cable shows that are out there and also magazine and print. So people are cooking more at home. People are cooking better at home, and they like wines to complement the table. And sometimes, you know, the food complements the wine, and sometimes the wine complements the food. But your dining experience and the sharing of that with friends is built around wine, I think, primarily today. So I want to give the consumer an opportunity to go in and say, hey, at $20, this is a good red or a great white. I can buy a case of this for $12 and not feel too badly dented and have a great dinner party. So that's my ambition, just as I do when I entertain in Canada. I pick the best for the price, and then, you know, I have 30 people over for dinner.
Sounds like a good party, Dan. Thank you so much for joining us here on Sky Radio. Really a pleasure.
Oh, well, very good. Look for these Sonoma wines coming out in the United States soon. And, you know, as I say, there's nothing like a lamb chop, rosemary potatoes, mint jelly, and a beautiful Syrah.
Dan Aykroyd has been our guest. The respected actor, comedian, musician, and businessman has now added winemaker to the list of his accomplishments. You can find out more about Dan Aykroyd Wines at his website, www.danaykroydwines.com.